What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here in the Supergirl Season 4, Episode 13. What's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way? I'm not fitting all that into the description or the title of this video. There's no way. Good God. I think that's because I have to put two episode titles, and it's not gonna fit. That's 100 characters I'm limited to, and that's what is that? I'm not even gonna count. Whatever. Anyways. No, but pretty good episode. First of all, Manchester Black is involved again, which honestly has made this season so much more enjoyable. It's really funny because I was looking at IMDb just to find out the episode titles and stuff, and so I was just checking them. I was like, you know what? I haven't actually checked the ratings for these seasons just to kind of see how they are. What people will think. Supergirl is shockingly low. And don't get me wrong, when it started, yeah, it wasn't good. I wasn't on board. I thought it was really dumb. But then when Manchester Black entered, I thought it took a step up. And honestly, since then, yeah, they've had their political heavy-handedness every now and then. But for the most part, it stayed focused on the story, and it's actually providing Supergirl difficult difficult choices to make. And that's something this show has not done well. They always present it oh, this is a difficult choice, and it's well, not really. But this is actually a good season where it feels like she's caught between two warring sides and she doesn't know what to do, and this is the perfect episode to exemplify that. And she puts it very, very well, because the thing is, it's not like she's battling two ideologies, she's battling two extremist groups, and that's so much better than trying to force down our throats that not letting people in from outside is wrong. That's evil. These guys are the bad guys. No, they're extremists. Now we've got extremists on the other side, and they're going head to head. So much better than just smacking down one side by making the other side the bad guys. That's fantastic. It really does make it more compelling, because now you've got two sides. You've got two sides of the coin. And it makes it much more of a compelling choice for Supergirl to have to make. Because if she said, if she destroys the satellites, well, basically she's just doing exactly what the elite want and fueling the hate from all the Children of Liberty. But if she doesn't, well, then she's basically giving in to what the Children of Liberty want and allowing these innocent aliens to be ridiculed and possibly die. So, yeah, it's so much better. And I'm shocked that the rating for this season is so low, because they're actually treating it well. Now, it's not all fantastic, don't get me wrong. But it's not the ratings I'm talking about were below 7. I don't think it's below 7. I'd give it at least a 7.5. This episode I'd probably rate pretty high. But yeah, it's bizarre to me because, of course, what was really funny about it is the first few episodes actually got above a 7, and then most of the episodes since then have been below 7. I'm just really? Because the first few episodes were awful, and it's gotten better since then. Why did it drop? It's probably because they stopped, pushing their political agenda as much, and everybody who's watching this show is why aren't you doing it more? Come on, represent me. It's yeah, they're representing you very well. Just check out the elite. Anyways, but yeah, so I really liked how they handled this, though. It was interesting to see Supergirl have to tackle both sides. The way that they're handling the elite is also very interesting. I feel like they're making them the bad guys, but in a convincing way. So now, again, like I said, it's the two extremes, and Supergirl has to find a way to battle both while also making her own choices that aren't fueling the hate on either side. So it's very well done so far. I think if they can keep this going, I feel like they're very well set up for the rest of the season. Now, as far as all the stuff in between, aside from that big story, I like Nia Nal's story now. I feel like they've done a very good job of giving her a good point. I feel like it's not just about her, representing the transgender population and all that. It's now more about her story. And I'm glad because at first that was the only reason that it looked like she was on the show, is just for that representation. But now she's got a point, she's got a character, she's got stuff that she's trying to learn. She's trying to learn to be a superhero. Like it really is interesting to see her want to figure out more about the future. And of course, Braini's like, if you do, you could change the timeline drastically. So I don't know. I like that concept of Brainy trying to train her while she's trying to forge ahead, and it makes sense because of what happened with her mother. She wants to get better at these powers so she can prevent stuff like that from happening again. So yeah, I really feel like they're doing a good job with her story as well, and her powers are pretty freaking cool. Like, it's just awesome to see them battling. I'll talk about the hat because, oh my gosh, like when I thought Manchester Black was gonna be the best like villain character this season, and all of a sudden they've introduced the hat, and I'm like, okay, this dude's cool. But yeah, when she and Brainy were battling the hat, I thought it was a little cheesy for her to be like dreams, and then Brainy to be like quantum physics or whatever he said. Or is it quantum calculus? I don't remember. But yeah, I honestly though it was cool to see her whenever he disappeared. She closed her eyes for a second, saw the future, and then saw where he was gonna be for her to dodge and then counterattack. So yeah, I think it's really cool. It's a cool power to have, and the more she learns about it, the more effective she's gonna be. And then of course she's learning how to astral project as well, which looked pretty cool. But yeah, the hat, man. This dude comes out of nowhere. I will admit, at first it was a little cheesy because he's like, I got something for you, and pulls the knife out of the hat, and the dude, instead of like moving or doing anything, he's like, wait, no, and then yeah, just dies. I'm like, yeah, if anybody pulls a knife out at me, I'm running. I'm not just standing there going, no, stop. It's a little stupid. No, but honestly, just he's pretty cool. He can pull whatever he wants out of that hat. He has the ability to teleport wherever he's been before. And it's a fun setup. Brainy goes to punch him, he holds his hat up and his fist goes into the hat and then ends up getting, losing his ring because of it. So I don't know. It's a very cool character to introduce on the bad guys team. And Manchester Black is still just a lot of fun as well. Like I said, he's an element of this dark, gritty realism that's been absent from the show for the first 3 seasons. And like I said in the Arrow review, whereas he's contrasting to Supergirl, and Curtis is more just, he doesn't feel like he fits in the show, but there's no real other reason for him to be there other than to be different than everybody else in the moral high ground and just looking down, nose up at everybody else and their dirty tactics. For Manchester Black, his dirty tactics actually feel like it's integral to his character into the show, because that is part of the point, is the way he's doing things. Supergirl may agree with his ideology, but the way he does things is not what she agrees with, and because of that they're actually clashing. Whereas Curtis, everybody just treats Curtis with kid gloves and just like, you're so good, Curtis, we'll try to do it your way because we don't want to offend you, that whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I really like kind of almost the rivalry between him and Jean as well. Like, Jean is trying to be non-violent, where Manchester was trying, but I mean, he's lost his wife, or his fiance. I mean, you kind of understand why he's going to where he's going to, but I like the contrast. Jean, he's trying so hard, even though he knows he needs to do something, he's trying to honor his father's wishes. Whereas Manchester lost Fiona, and he tried to be nonviolent for her, but ultimately it pushed him over the edge, and he can't recover. So it's just interesting to see 2 characters trying to take the moral high ground, or well, trying to take different sides. One trying to take the moral high ground, the other one just saying, I'm just going to get revenge for my fiance. And ultimately at the end, Jean finally does release the rage, I guess. Which is going to be interesting because since he's been holding it in so long, I wonder if it's going to release a little bit more aggressively than normal. But yeah, I mean, I really like what this season is doing. Also, the one final thing before we move on is the president. I've talked about how he seemed a little weird this season. He started off, he seemed like a decent guy, seemed like he was just trying to do whatever he could to, you know, step in for the recent president. But then more recently, he seemed a little bit more almost evil. And not in like a, ooh, I'm going to take over the world, but just like all he cares about is polls. And he's doing stupid things just for his poll numbers. And that's all he seems to be focused on. And then this one, we find out apparently he's setting up this thing, this satellite, that's going to blow up alien ships trying to enter the atmosphere. It's just like, what is going on? But the characters also notice this. And that's why I'm thinking maybe there's something else going on that we don't know about. And even Colonel Haley was like, I wasn't aware of the satellite. The president went against protocol here. So I'm almost kind of wondering if there's somebody behind the scenes maybe manipulating the president that we don't know about. But it's because Ben Lockwood, he brings him in, and just at first it's almost just like for the press, I'm shaking his hand, guys. See, I got him out of prison because I care about you. So does this guy. He wants what's best for humanity, and so do I, just to bump his numbers up. But then the satellite thing and everything going on with that, and then bringing him back in, making Lockwood in charge of the alien affairs or whatever. It seems like he's more concerned about the aliens than he is his numbers. And that's not how he was at first. So, I don't know. I feel like, and Jiminy says he's been acting really weird. He's making strange decisions lately. So, it's not just me noticing it. The characters are too. So, this isn't like a writing thing where, I thought it was going to be just the writers trying to make their statement about, crooked politicians, all they care about is poll numbers. Don't you hate politicians? But it seems like there might be a story-based reason besides the poll numbers that he's doing all of this stuff. So I'll be curious to see what that is. But with that being said, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. And now episode 14, Stand and Deliver. This is more what I've come to expect out of this show. They decided to take an episode to just dip their toes. Their feet. They stuck the whole leg back into the political heavy-handedness for this episode. Oh my god. Like, wow. It was still okay. Like, there were still moments that I think were good, but geez Louise, they went right back to what the beginning of the season felt like, which was, if you think people from outside are not supposed to be here, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're evil. If you think people from outside shouldn't be here, if you think that building a wall is a good idea, you're wrong. Like, it was so obvious. Like, good God. And the thing is, because here's the problem with it, is that they make it seem like Ben Lockwood and his followers are people who think illegal immigrants shouldn't be here, right? No. Problem is that Ben Lockwood and his followers are saying, no aliens. Nobody from the outside should be here. And that's not how the country works. I get the idea, okay, it's aliens, which is why I think it has worked for some of this season, is because they focused on it being more about the fact that these aliens are superhuman and could take over if they wanted to. Like, it's more about the fear, whereas compared to our world, there are some people that do come in legally and do it correctly, and that's fine. It's the people that are coming in illegally and committing crimes and getting away with it because people want their voters. One side of the government wants voters, and the best way to do it is to get illegals in here for it. But that's the thing, is that they still want to try to compare that to what's going on in the show. They want to make it comparable. They want to say, you people that think illegals shouldn't be here, you're wrong. You're wrong, you're evil, you don't think about these people. Look, they're just running away. They're just trying to get away from war and violence. Like, when she said that, I'm like, here we go again. Back into the political smacking over the head. And then the protests, I actually, it actually is almost relevant now. Because for them to protest this, they're planning to appeal the Alien Amnesty Act. Which, yeah, I could understand them wanting to protest that, because now you're basically just saying, hey, even the innocent people that are here, that came here, just are making a living and are not hurting anybody, even you people get out. Yeah, that would include Supergirl too, but nobody thinks about that. Like the one guy said, because you're a superhero, right? Mm-hmm. So, but it makes sense. But what's funny is they showed up and they protested peacefully. And this is actually a good reason to protest as compared to, I don't know, people who want to riot because one guy is a racist douchebag and then you suddenly want to riot. That makes sense, right? That makes perfect. You want to loot stores? Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely protesting a good cause, let me tell ya. Yeah. Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's different when the government's trying to do something that is going to affect your livelihood as compared to you got you just got some racist assholes out there. It's gonna happen. You're gonna deal with anyway. Sorry, don't mean to get too much into that, but good God, that's all I've been hearing about for the past few days, and I'm just sick of it already. But yeah, I mean, it's just this episode. It took a turn back to the beginning of the season, and I don't like getting smacked over the head with this political ideology that we should just welcome everyone, guys. Just if you don't want to welcome everyone, well, you're just an evil person. No, that's not the case. And that's why I think giving Lockwood a position in government, it really does. I'm not a big fan of it so far because of what they're doing. They're basically they're saying everybody who agrees with Lockwood now is just evil. It's like that's no. Like if they had presented him like he was on his show where it's more about talking about the like spreading fear and stuff, then I could understand some people wanting to follow him while the Children of Liberty are the extremists that are like, we just need to kill him and get him out of here. But now it's like he's pushed his Children of Liberty into the government, and now there are people who believe the Children of Liberty, and most of the people that are following him are more like the Children of Liberty and want them dead and gone. I'm just like, that's so not realistic. Yeah, he might have some crazy extremist people following him, but now you're basically saying that everyone who agrees with him, because there were some people who just agreed with him out of fear. It wasn't because they wanted to kill aliens, it's because they were scared of what aliens might do to them. That's understandable. That's more like real life. Now you've made it unrealistic by making these people actually want them dead because, ooh, Ben Lockwood's speaking about it, guys, and he's a good guy, right? He didn't spend time in jail for, murdering people. So yeah, not a big fan of that. Also not a fan of the media praise because it's starting to get a little too heavy-handed again because they had a few moments earlier in the season where we're talking about, that's why we present both sides here because media, that's what we do. That's what real media is about. Because that's what we always do, right? You can trust us because we wouldn't lie to you, right? We wouldn't cut out, half of a press conference just so we can show the parts that we want to show, right? And this one, Jimmy talking about them being superheroes or whatever, I'm just like, God, you could not make it any more obvious how you feel about the media. Like, calm down. Media lies. Deal with it. It's just so funny to see them try to show an idealized world of what the media is, of what it's like to have equality. Like they show this idealized world, but then they want to put our real world problems in there and think that it shows it accurately. I'm like, no, it doesn't. So yeah, hopefully this is just like the one episode that just needed to get it out. There was a writer that they locked in the closet for this season. That was the crazy one that was dealing with all the, the political agenda stuff in the first couple seasons. And then they just locked him in the closet for the season. Like, all right, get in there, stay in there. You're making our show too ridiculous. And they just broke out for this one episode. He's like, no, we need to put the political stuff in there. The conservatives need to know they're evil. Trump is evil. Everybody who follows him is evil. Oh my gosh, everybody's evil. Unless you want to welcome everybody, even criminals. So yeah, there's my rant about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, and then Jimmy getting shot at the end. He's not gonna die. Come on. It was just so random. Like he's just sitting there. You see, because Lena and him have been having more relationship troubles, but they're gonna get back together because this show loves to do this more than Ross and Rachel and Friends. But yeah, he's just in the office, and then all of a sudden, like he hears the phone ring, turns around, gunshot, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, sure, right. Supergirl, guys, Guys, Supergirl is hard enough to kill Jimmy. They'll do it. They'll kill Jimmy. Don't test them. They'll do it. I know all of you just love Jimmy so much because, he's this big, beefy guy. Completely changed him from the comics. But, I know all you women love him, but he's going to die. Tune in next week. Find out what happens. It's such a cliffhanger. In fact, I wonder, let me just check one thing real quick. Let's see. Supergirl. Okay, never mind. I thought this might be something where, this, because they always have, a little bit of a break. They start in, was it January? Yeah. They have a pause from December to January. They start back up, and then they go until, March. And then sometimes the CW shows will have a break between March and April. I thought this might be, the last episode to keep people hanging on the edge. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen to Jimmy for a few weeks? But no, it doesn't look like that's what they did. It was a theory I had. But anyways, with that being said, though, on to the last of these three. See you there. And finally, episode 15, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Perfect. I tell you what, after the last episode and just how ridiculous it got, this was exactly what I needed to get to get me back on Supergirl's side. I was worried. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I hope this wasn't a sign of things to come. I hope it doesn't start taking a downturn. Nope. Inner Lex Luthor, and perfect. I mean, I could see some of it coming. Whenever Jimmy got shot and then they introduced him and then he started work with Lena for the cure of the Harnell. I'm thinking to myself, okay, so he had Jimmy shot, right? He had Jimmy shot, and then that was a way to get Lena to work on the cure. So that way, he could get the cure as well. And then even the little touches, she figures out the power going out of the hospital was not from Manchester attacking the dam, but was from him. I was just okay, yeah, that also makes sense. Basically forcing Lena's hand. And then all of a sudden, things just got amazing. Because I was sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, I'm predicting most of this. But then he talks about how somebody's already given him the drug. I was thinking to myself, I wonder if he's paid off that guard that's been, treating him awfully this entire episode, just to kind of get sympathy from Lena. But really, this guard is on his side. And all of a sudden, the guard touches the button, and it's Otis. I'm just okay, did not see that coming. And then in walks Eve Tessmacher. Oh my god, great plot twist. Oh my gosh, now... I wonder if there's any hints. There can't be. The writers of the show are not clever enough to have been plotting that Eve was working for Lex from the very beginning. This has to be something that they just came up with this season, right? Because Eve has definitely been, a little bit more helpful than she has been in the past for this season, ever since she started working for Lena. It has to be something they thought of this season. Oh, guys, what if Eve was actually working for Lex? There's no way they've been planning this from the beginning. There's no way. But now I'm kind of curious if there are any hints. Anyways, but yeah, just that whole final part. Otis revealing himself, Eve revealed to be working for Lex this entire time. The classical music as he takes out all of the guards. Oh, it was perfect. And it appears that he's going to be a mainstay. Of course, Supergirl shows up at the end. I hope it's not something where she just throws him right back in prison. That would suck. But I'm starting to feel like he's had a hand in a lot of stuff. Because the story of this season is very much a Lex Luthor type of story. Creating the fear of these alien beings that are coming from another world that could possibly take over. That's a very Lex Luthor thing, because it's one of the reasons why he hates Superman so much is because he's... Well, at least... most of the iterations I've seen of him, he hates Superman because, one, he's scared of the power, but also because Superman is also foiling his doings, his attempts to take over the world. So I don't know. I'll be curious to find out if Lex is the one who's been kind of manipulating things behind the scenes to where the president now is basically helping out the Children of Liberty, all the little things that happen that have kind of gone against, Supergirl, the DEO, all of that stuff. And aside from that, even though Manchester's gone, I do like how his story ended, because near the end here, obviously, his group was meant to show kind of the counterbalance between Ben Lockwood and the Children of Liberty, and then you got the Elite. So basically, the two sides extremes clashing, and Supergirl caught in the middle of the two, which was a really good thing. But then it sort of died off once the group got captured in the last episode, and then it was more focused on Ben Lockwood and his group are evil rather than Manchester and his group. So now it's definitely more focused on the fact that it's almost like he's been hyper focused on John near the end of the last episode and then this one. He's really been trying to bring out this anger, this rage, this aggression for some reason. I don't entirely know why. It kind of came out of nowhere, because at first it just seemed like, he wanted revenge for his wife. Makes sense. Or fiance. That makes sense. And then it was all about, trying to kind of working with the Hat to spark a revolution to get the aliens to rise up against these humans that wanted to kill them. So I don't know, like it hardly seemed like he was that interested in Jean until a few episodes ago. Then all of a sudden a little bit of interest sparked, like he wanted Jean to rise up with him, to work with him. Which, I mean, he'd been asking that earlier in the season, but it didn't seem like a priority for him. It was like he just wanted Jean to help him out because he knew it would help. But over the past 2 episodes, all of a sudden it became like his main goal is he wants Jean to experience this rage. And I guess maybe it has, because he talked about how, Jean got into his head whenever he was about to kill the Lockwoods, and that's what caused him to not be able to. So I wonder if maybe that's why he started focusing on him and wanting him to experience what he is, because, John messed up his plan that one time. I don't know, it did seem to come out of nowhere, but at the same time, it's also kind of interesting for John's storyline, because he has been such a pacifist. I'm not going to fight, I'm going to remain a man of peace. And then the past couple episodes, it's been the opposite of that, and now he ends up killing Manchester in this one. I'm curious to find out where his story is going. He even says at the end, he's like, I'm not a man of peace. So I don't know what exactly is happening with him, but I'm intrigued. Like, I wonder if I don't exactly know why Manchester wanted to do this to him, but whatever he's done, it's been successful, it looks like. And I don't know what path John is headed down now. But I mean, I'm curious. It's got me intrigued, so I can't wait to see where that's headed to. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a pretty solid. It was more than pretty solid. It was a good episode. I was worried, because if the ending had played out differently, this probably would have been an okay episode, because I saw most of the stuff with Lex coming. I saw most of his plan coming in this episode. I realized why Jimmy got shot. I realized, what was going on there, and him trying to force Lena to use the cure so that way it could be tested and then work on him. So I realized most of that stuff, but the fact that the ending played out so well and still kept me on my toes, I think it's what made it a successful and good episode. Aside from that, I'm curious if Supergirl is going to tell Alex, Kara, if Kara is going to tell Alex soon that her secret, because in this episode especially, like, obviously it's shown that it's kind of fractured them a little bit, because, they used to be able to share everything together, and now obviously they can't. But in this episode especially, like, when Jimmy needed help, Alex was just chewing Kara out, and Kara knew she was doing everything she could as Supergirl, but Alex doesn't know that, so it's kind of like it's almost fracturing their relationship as sisters now that she doesn't know her secret. And so I'm kind of wondering, because it seems like Haley has sort of stepped off her investigation into Supergirl's identity for now, and she's already asked Alex as well, do you know Supergirl's identity, and used the truth seeker thing on her. So I'm kind of almost thinking that now it would be okay for Alex to know. So I think it's going to come up soon. At some point it's going to be figured out. I just feel like, with this episode in particular, it feels like that truth might be coming out in the next couple episodes rather than, the end of the season, which is what I thought they might do originally. But we'll see what's going on. After this one, I'm excited to see where the rest of the season takes us now that Lex has been introduced, and it seems like he's going to be, hopefully, the main threat, but we'll see. But that being said, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these episodes? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe. Future Supergirl reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.